Hi guys, welcome to Solo Dolo Sports Facebook page. Special video. We're focusing on the GOAT. You're looking at the screen. This is Tyler Morgan. This is Tyler Morgan actually retiring. I still got the foul on it. I got a lot of fouls on Tyler. It was a series that went on for about 2 years on Madden 19. And Madden 19 is officially now retired. I done played all the series on it. I don't know what series I've done on it. I did Andy Singleton on it on Madden 19. I did Detroit Lions Rebuild on it. And I did Tyler Morgan's Career Mode. Tyler Morgan's Career Mode was the last series to end. It was my favorite career mode. Out of all the career modes I've done Jamel McCray. Mike Cobbs is still going on. Jamel McCray, of course, is back. Even though it's Madden 18, it's kind of like, yeah. But it has good moments. But those series I never really just loved as much as I love this one. This was the series that I fell in love with. I enjoyed it. And it was fun. I always call him the GOAT. He was the Supercharger. He was the Columbia State Supercharger. He was an auto-generated player in NCAA football 14. He became the quarterback for Columbia State. Played for about 3 years as a starter. Got a Heisman nod. Was fifth in Heisman voting. I think in year 4 of that series, because of his size, which I wish I knew back then you could edit their sizes for Madden. He went undrafted, so I went ahead and put him in as an undrafted player. Coming off the bench for Phillip Rivers, and then Phillip Rivers retires. And he takes his spot for the Los Angeles Chargers, and we never looked back. In 15 years of playing, he's now gone. I'll never play a game with Tyler Morgan ever again. And I wish I did. I really wish I wish I played more years, another year or so with him. He got to a Super Bowl, didn't win it. A lot of playoff success with the Chargers under his watch. Just never got to, never really got a Super Bowl. And I think that would have made the difference. But, I still enjoyed the series, loved playing with him. And I'm going to miss this series a whole lot. I think after Mike Cobbs, that career mode is over. There is going to be no more career modes after that. I mean, Jamel McCray will end, of course, after probably this year because he's getting slow. And I brought him back just for because to fill in the void of Tyler Morgan being gone, because that really hit me hard that he did retire and I had absolutely no control over it. And I had no say in it. He wanted to retire, so we retired him. So that ends that series, and I just wanted to go ahead and, I already retired him. I just went ahead and clicked it for viewing aesthetics. But the foul's called Thanks, Tyler. That's going to be the title of this episode. You go back. The earliest I've had on him as far as playing is this foul right here. It was against the Colts. I think it was a preseason game. Or it was during the season. Yeah, it was during the season. It's the earliest foul I found on him. And if you look at his playing, this was like early in his career. He started out year 1, 23 years old. He wasn't playing. I think he was on the depth chart. I think it was still Phillip Rivers. No, he actually did start playing. AJ McCarron was his backup. Crazy to see the roster now. We had Melvin Gordon, of course, Austin Eckler. I know Keenan Allen was on the team. Had some really good years with him. Tyrell Williams, Travis Benjamin, Mike Williams. Yeah, you had some studs. Hunter Henry, of course. We really got into a groove with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry was a real good player for us. I remember Sean Benford. He was really fun to play with. We had a great offensive line that lasted for years. And Feeney, I wonder when the other guys got here. Mike Pouncey. This was early because I don't even remember these guys. But I do remember Forrest Lamp. I forget what, they don't say his age. But there's other guys that he played with for years, and they're not showing them. So, this was way early. Melvin Ingram, yeah, Luggett, a lot of the players Corey Luggett, all the players that were there during the Phillip Rivers years were still on the team. Denzel Perryman. Yeah, it was crazy to watch this. Going back to these old files, Casey Hayward, Jason Barrett, Desmond King, Dye, Derwin James. Pretty good team back then. Players that are still playing today. 78 overall. Never did have the deep accuracy yet. Was just getting there. But yeah, he started out as a 78 overall. Well, he started out like lower than that, really. So, when you look at the old stats, how it started, 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That sounds like his season right there. When he was starting, he threw like touchdowns. He threw as much interceptions as he did touchdowns back then. He was already getting sacked a lot too. It's crazy. Looking at all these stats with the old Tyler Morgan stuff. He did have an NFL record, he did have an NFL record starting. He passed Warren Moon for second all time in passing yards in a game for second all time. I think he beat that record by Brent Brooklyn. If I go back to the files, I can find it. Go back to Thanks Tyler. We can see all the records. Here we can see all the records. Yep, I can go back to all the records we had. Hopefully they didn't take them off. Did they? Oh yeah. In his last season, he passed Norman Van Brocklin for all time in passing yards in a game. 574 yards in one game. Which is crazy. He passed that. Passing yards in a season. Tyler Morgan, of course, is on there for 2023. Tom Morgan is also on there for 2024. So he had years where he passed the ball a lot. Passing touchdowns, I don't think he got really that much, but he did reach, the highest he reached was 44 touchdown passes later in his career. We see game, how about career? Passing yards in a career, 63,666. He passed Carson Wentz, who's a GOAT in this game. So he's with the all-time greats as far as passing yards. Of course, the biggest one is Drew Brees. Hard to beat him. Played forever, so it's going to be hard to beat him. Passing yards in a season, Tyler Morgan is third all time, even past Tom Brady. So that's crazy. And of course, the most passing yards in a game, passing touchdowns in a game, 7. That's hard to do, and he's never got up there. I think he had 6. Yeah, one time he had 6. That's the highest he got. Look at career stats, which I can't see him because he's not on a team. I guess I can't see it because he's not on a team. But here's all the players that were GOATs in the game that still play. I guess we'll play other seasons. There's, of course, Deshaun Watson. Had 65,496 touchdowns, 178 yards, 8 interceptions. Baker Mayfield's on there. Lamar Jackson, 504. Wow. And then the auto-generated players. Cesar Gutierrez was a long-time player in the for the Giants in the series. 36 years old, 89 overall. I think he won a Super Bowl, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked. Still playing, though. All these guys are still playing, and Tyler retired. It's kind of sad. Sean Horton from the Jets, auto-generated player. Sean Levin was a long-time player in the game. He mostly played for the Dolphins, but he ended up, I guess, going to Seahawks. I'm pretty sure he's getting old there, too. Yeah, he's 33. 92 overall still, though. Tyler had a 99 overall rating when he retired, or 98, 97. He was still high, so I'm surprised he retired. But here's the real GOAT, Turner Schmidt. He's a Detroit Lion. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He is well deserved. Anything he gets, he deserves. The guy is amazing. I mean, to win all those Super Bowls, and he did it for Detroit, yeah, you're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. You're definitely the GOAT. Then, of course, Ryan McChesney, one of our big rivals with the Raiders. He's a superstar. Still in the league. Raiders have always been pretty good. So it's been a long series, and when you have a long series like this, you see all the names of guys that you played with, that you played alongside of, quarterbacks in the league, and you see what they've done, and it's crazy. Okay, we're going to go active. Who's active on the list? Tyler Morgan didn't get a high legacy score. It's hard to get a high legacy score in this game unless you do something. Bayfield won 3 Super Bowls, 4 AFC championships, all those yearly awards. Of course, Tyler won an AFC championship game, didn't win a Super Bowl. Schmidt won 3 Super Bowls. You know, he's like clutch. He's like a salute. Lamar Jackson won a Super Bowl. Cesar Gutierrez did win a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson didn't win a Super Bowl. So Deshaun Watson and we are about close. We didn't have a Super Bowl championship, and he didn't have a Super Bowl championship. Levin never won one. McChesney's not won one. We will never know if these guys ever won anything because the series is over. Horton never won one. Hasn't won one. Purcell never won one. So no Super Bowls. Tom Brady, of course, is in the Hall of Fame. So is Carson Wentz, who I passed in yards, but he won. Tom Brady, of course, in this game won 5 in this universe. Carson Wentz won 4, playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers won 2. He's in the Hall of Fame. Matt Ryan, that didn't win any, but he's in the Hall of Fame. Brees won 1. He's in the Hall of Fame. Rosberg won 2. He's in the Hall of Fame. Philip Rivers won none, but he's in the Hall of Fame. And then there's Tyler Morgan, of course, with his stuff. Over overview of his accomplishments. I wish they just went ahead and crunched all the numbers together of all the passing touchdowns he had, but they don't do that. Of course, he's not under contract. Here's all the accomplishments. Undrafted in 2017. 5 Pro Bowl appearances. He won AFC Offensive Player of the Week in Week 14 of his last season. He led the league in passer rating 1 time. He was 2027 Offensive Player of the Year, 2027 Best Quarterback, 2028 Best Quarterback. Had a really decent career. And I'm not going to count all the touchdowns. I'm not even going to bother with that. I just wish they had better ways to do this, man. I mean, it's like ridiculous that I can't look at his stats from a career standpoint. Like, if I want to go passing touchdowns, where are we? I mean, we're under Watson, though. So he passed. It's like 400. I think it was 470 something. It's like not. Because Watson has 496. He has more than I do. So I'm thinking it's like around that area. I wish I could see his career stats, but Madden sucks, so you can't see it. You go NFL, still can't see it because he's retired. He is retired, so I can't see his career, all his career stats, which is kind of dumb. Would have been nice. So before the 2032 season, Tyler Morgan is done. Tyler Morgan is done. Of course, Browns went on to win the Super Bowl, which is led, of course, by Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield's had a great career. He wins Super Bowls. Tyler Morgan doesn't. It's kind of hard to take. You lose to the Browns, pretty hard to take. And the thing about it was the last year was really, really good. I think Tyler Morgan and the Chargers were offensively looked really, really great. It was a great season. It's unfortunate that you couldn't cash it out, with a championship. It's unfortunate you couldn't cash it out with a championship. Bradley Chubb retired too. Then there's Tyler Morgan, of course. Tyler Morgan retired. And that's the screen I saw, and I just was like, how can he do that? And I don't have any control over that. It's like, nope, you don't have no control over that. If he retires, he just retires, and there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, man. It's kind of sad. You think, hey, you would have control over those certain things, but you don't. Really sad. So ends one of the greatest career mode series that I've ever done. As much as I love the Cobbs and love, McCray, and Andy Singleton had a good run here and there, but he wasn't really a big factor in that whole Steeler thing. It was sort of like I was looking at Le'Veon Bell and Ben Roethlisberger and all the quarterbacks that came after him, and he was just there. He was just there as a seer of what the Pittsburgh Steelers could have been. Because the Steelers were loaded then. That's why I wanted to do a series with them. Because I was like, man, the Steelers have Le'Veon Bell. They got, what would have happened if Le'Veon Bell stayed in Pittsburgh and, Antonio Brown and all the offensive weapons they had, and they stayed in Pittsburgh? What would they have been able to do? So I was more interested in that than I was anything else. Well, we're going to watch some highlights, guys, of Tyler Morgan's some of the best highlights of Tyler Morgan's journey and as an NFL quarterback. I don't got all of them. All these are saved on my Xbox console, so I don't get to see all of them. But we're gonna watch some clips from his career. Not all of them. I mean, like I said, a lot of them are. I don't know. They booted a lot of them off because you would think after 2 years there'd be a whole lot more here because it automatically loads them. But here we go.
Now Morgan to throw on second down.
Bets. We played with so many great receivers too. I remember Betts. Didn't play with him too long. He was a really good player. That's the one highlight. These highlights are so short though. So we'll get to look at them. See Tyler Morgan, put more in HD.
Looking to throw. Morgan.
Ooh, Ross was a John Ross, man. John Ross was the GOAT in this game. He was just the GOAT. He was awesome playing with John Ross. He was really fun. He just disappeared too. He didn't really retire. He just disappeared. John Ross again. Wow. We were killing the Raiders in that game. That was fun. I always like killing the Raiders with Tyler Morgan. It was always fun. And all these, of course, are Morgan highlights. Morgan with the classic blues on. Ross again. That was the best receiver I had, even better than Keenan Allen. The connection they had, him and John Ross together, man, the connection they had was beautiful. It was Madden-esque NFL passing going on. It was beautiful. Watching all these highlights. Trying to make a video out of this. I want Tyler Morgan to be on it. Here's on a run. Yeah, we had some great running backs in the game too. That was really fun. Having these running backs that would like break off big runs, have big games. I had so many I couldn't even count, man. That's one thing about this series that was so much fun, was the players I got to play with. It was so much fun. This game versus the Chiefs.
To throw is Morgan. From the gun, he'll throw.
Ooh, Coakley. We had some great receivers. Great auto-generated receivers in this dynasty, in this series, man. It was really fun. Really fun.
Looking to throw. Morgan.
Ooh, Ross. Those deep passes, I love them. He got so good at the deep passing that it was just like, and if you get the right receiver, a playmaking receiver to do it, man, it's always so much fun. You know, having John Ross was criminal what we did to defenses, man. It was fun. Enjoyed it so much.
They'll look to throw.
John Ross again.
There's that man again. Right side. And he's across from
You go. I mean, it'll just be too much, man. It'd be too easy. I'd be like, well, I hate the four vertical trick. Just hey, you know, it's kind of cheesy. But with John Ross, it just made it. I don't care. It was fun. I loved doing it. It was just so much fun knowing that he beat the coverage and he would just make these big plays. It was so much fun.
Let's try to get some football.
Ross again. I bet you it's another Ross. Ross again. Don't have to go deep to beat you.
Supercharger.
Just give him the ball, he make a play. A lot of touchdowns that Morgan got through. You know, a lot of those big games he had was, of course, John Ross, man. That was so much fun. They had great running backs like Roundtree to hand the ball to.
And they'll try the ground game here with a running back.
Go, I get out of that. Yeah.
Down the numbers. There he goes. Touchdown, LA.
Yeah, it's fun to see the running backs. It wasn't all just Tyler's arm. It was like he had a great offense just around him. So it didn't really take much, man.
Because they're so long way away from the other outside. So they got to work on getting first downs.
Runs it. Ooh, right to Ross. Yeah. And it was really good. I got really good at that. The play action passing, the scrambling around and running around. It's not my strong suit. I like to just pass in the pocket, but when the pocket broke down, it's like, yeah, Morgan could make the play. I trusted Morgan a lot, man. He would just make the play.
Morgan now. From the gun, he'll throw.
Ross again. Someone was actually there. Wow. This is turning into the John Ross highlight show. They're Tyler Morgan. But hey, you got to have good receivers to make the stuff happen in this series. And we had some of the best receivers I've ever. It was the most fun I ever had playing quarterback. Oh, and it wasn't that. It was Coakley killing you. Big plays. And those type of plays, here we were, only up 2 points, needed a big play to put the game away, and there you go, he makes it. And even though he had rough games, 2 interceptions in this game, but he still would throw the big pass and win you the games. That's what Tyler Morgan was all about, man. Yeah, he made mistakes. He wasn't perfect. But sometimes, man, it just didn't matter. He would still have those plays that just made you go, yeah, this is some special stuff right here.
Back to throw.
Ross again on a drag route.
Touchdown, LA.
In Green Bay. I love doing stuff like that in Green Bay. That was awesome. We were killing Green Bay, too. Those are always great. See this other highlight here.
Morgan on first down.
Ooh. Man on man coverage, man. You're throwing it to him. Man on man coverage, you throw it to Ross. That's what I learned. Like, give it to your playmaker. Do what you need to do. And here, this is the play where Ross breaks Randy Moss's single season touchdown record in Minnesota. This was special. The connection he had with Ross was so special. Hated he just left the game. I think we broke the game, man. I think we broke the game. I think that's why he left, because we just broke the game with him. He was uncoverable. You could not cover him.
You don't have to be too panicked. No, not at all. I agree with you. And this is where your preparation.
Need a big game. Need a big play. There to beat Cleveland. We will usually beat Cleveland in the regular season, It was a good rivalry between him and Baker. It was really a good rivalry. We didn't win a Super Bowl. I think it was a great rivalry. Oh, here's one of the big plays I remember. This was I stood up on my seat for this one. This was one of the best plays in the whole Tyler series. Fowler. I remember him. Are you kidding me? Yeah, because that was with triple zeros and we beat the Patriots. A very difficult opponent in the series was the Patriots, and I lost playoff games to the Patriots. So I love this. This was great. That was one of the best plays in the whole Tyler Morgan series too. With Fowler, no less, not even Ross. I remember Fowler. Fowler became one of those real good auto-generated receivers for Tyler, you know. And he had if you look, a linebacker is over there covering him. That was a mismatch. I'm like, that's not something you wouldn't normally do. You wouldn't have a linebacker covering a receiver like that. But it's Madden, so what do you want? I got the win, so I was happy. Morgan versus Saints. Right to Armstrong. And Russell Armstrong became that guy, man. After Ross left, Russell Armstrong became that big playmaker that Ross kind of was. But no one was as good as Ross, man. But Armstrong was really, really good. Probably the same game, or was it? Yeah, I think this was about the same game.
Either the defense gets him the football back. Yeah, now they have a chance to get the lead. They can put something.
Armstrong again. This is those deep passes, man. He became it just became just like, man, I had great receivers in this series. It was so much fun. They had running backs like Rodriguez Jones. You have these great running backs, man, that just knew how to, and a great offensive line. I couldn't begin to tell you about how great our offensive line was. Giving him time to make these passes, man. I mean, he was awesome. Was this the playoff game? I think this was the playoff game. I'm not sure. I think it was. Armstrong.
That's Armstrong. And all the way in for a shot.
Always fun, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. Now there's more. One more. This was the playoff game, the last playoff game that Tyler Morgan was in.
Here's Jones.
Not even a pass. Rodriguez Jones. And that was the last win that we had. And then they lose to the Browns and Tyler Morgan retires. But it was a good run. It was a good run. I really enjoyed it. End of an era. Is he the GOAT still? Is he the greatest quarterback? He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, if you look at it, there's Mount Rushmore. You're DeMontre James. I put him up there. Jamel McCray. Tyler Morgan. Mike Cobbs. Jesse Holman. And probably A.J. Prater. All 6 players that are on my Mount Rushmore. He's definitely on my Mount Rushmore. Is he the greatest quarterback I ever played with? I think probably so, but probably not. To be honest with you, I think Jesse Holman has taken that spot. He got me my first Super Bowls. You know, Jesse Holman got me my first Super Bowls. Tyler Morgan didn't deliver a Super Bowl. I wish he did. I think if he got a Super Bowl, we'd probably look at him a little bit different. And we could sit there and say, yeah, he's the greatest quarterback that ever done it. But I think because of Jesse Holman's pedigree and just the fun I'm having with the Titan series, but I will always say, career mode wise, Tyler Morgan career mode series on Madden 19 was the best series I've done. It was the most fun I ever had in a series. It was so much fun playing with him and these receivers and the offense that was just always on turbo mode. You couldn't keep up with us. You know, unfortunately, you had teams that were really good, quarterbacks that were really good in the series, like Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson and Turner Schmidt and, you know, Carson Wentz, which is funny to say, that they just had better teams. But Tyler Morgan definitely deserves to be on the greatest players that I ever played with in any series I ever done, bar none. So, thanks, Tyler. Thanks for years of NCAA football 14. Thanks for that. Thanks for Madden 19 and giving me a lot of great memories. You will never be forgotten, and just thank you. Just thanks, Tyler, for the memories. Thanks for making me feel great about picking up a controller and turning a crappy game, which is Madden 19, into must-see TV for 2 years. I thank you, Tyler. Salute. Well, guys, I want to end this video. Thank you guys for hanging out with me to honor the great Tyler Morgan, one of the best quarterbacks in any of the series I ever done. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Solo Dolo out.